Iowa Debris, I am so sorry. Opus. It made a minor splash at Sundance in its A24's latest social thriller. That's right. Remember Get Out? It was the best thing that happened in horror in years. And it might just be the worst thing, because this is next in a long line of recent social thrillers. Think The Menu. Don't Worry, Darling. Blink Twice. Yes, it's a horror movie with something to say, and that something to say is absolute utter garbage. The winning Iowa Debris of The Bear fame plays Ariel, a journalist at a music magazine, those things still exist, who desperately wants to get her chance at writing a hot article. Lo and behold, the famed icon Moretti is back. He was the world's biggest pop star and he disappeared mysteriously for 30 years. But now he's back and he's invited her and her editor and a bunch of other people to his compound in Utah that totally isn't a cult. Once there, Moretti, played by John Malkovich, who else, introduces him to his new strange way of life. And mysterious occurrences begin happening. You've seen this before. The innocent character enters this strange world. We get those familiar POV shots of people looking ominously. We get strange, creepy occurrences. In this one, it's menacingly shucking oysters for pearls, creepy puppet shows, and that powerful guy you look up to isn't so cool after all. No, something menacing and ominous is happening. A24 has become known for its offbeat thrillers, and this one basically hits the formula to a T. There's ominous strings on the soundtrack, there's false jump scares, and totally random strangeness. And there's also a bunch of dumb characters who don't realize they're in danger until it's too late. Debris' character is supposed to be a journalist. She believes she has what it takes to write a groundbreaking story, but it takes a whole hour before she realizes, hey, these people in robes who are servile and have this strange new religion, maybe they're in a cult. Gee, you think? Even more frustrating is that the Moretti character is supposed to be the icon of icons, a pop star like Prince or Michael Jackson or Madonna or David Bowie. One big glaring problem, though, is his music sucks. They're not bops, they're not jams. So we have to suspend all this disbelief that he could be so influential that people just are anticipating his next album. Already we're at a disadvantage of believing that this silly guy in bizarre outfits could actually be as influential as he is. This comes from first time director Mark Anthony Green, and he is a former GQ magazine writer. So he's obviously writing what he knows. That's all well and good, but this movie feels completely out of time. Music magazines are not a thing anymore. Wanting to break a story or write a novel isn't really an aspiration for young people, especially since Debris' character is 27. Green is trying to say something about celebrity and fan worship and how we get so wrapped up in our idealized vision of these powerful figures that we can't see straight before it's too late. But this is a mush of cliches and muddled satire. It's not scary, it's certainly not funny, and it's all put on these actors who feel completely adrift. Malkovich is such obvious casting, and he's basically a parody here, dressed in bizarre get-ups and putting on intentionally or unintentionally silly performances, and it's never anchored in anything real or tangible or satirical in an interesting way. Other actors like Murray Bartlett and Amber Midthunder, remember her? She was so great in Prey a few years ago. They get nothing to do. There's a real opportunity here to talk about how we worship powerful figures. Something like a Kanye West who's whacked out beyond recognition, or an Elon Musk who seduces everyone with his power and money. We had Blink Twice last year, which is really disappointing, but at least it looked good and had a fun cast. A few years ago, we had The Menu, which actually tried to justify its eat the rich satire horror scenario by basing it in characters. The movie constantly feels like it has to follow a template up till the end when it runs out of ideas and just resorts to ugly violence, presumably just because it has to. So the movie goes from a frustrating watch to a deeply unpleasant one. I'm not squeamish about on screen violence, but it has to be justified. But here it's just checking off a box and trying to shock the audience out of their slumber. And it pissed me off. Debris is such a talent and she deserves way better than this. Opus is a huge missed opportunity. It's a huge misfire for A24, who now feels like they're kind of in a rut by just pumping out these thrillers that are all the same. Opus fails as a satire, it fails as a shocking comedy, it fails as a thriller, it fails on every level. Already, it's one of the worst things I've seen this year. I give it an abominable 1 out of 5 stars. If you like this review, please like and subscribe or follow me on Letterboxd at RamirezS316. IO, I'm gonna get you out of there. Hold on.